Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. So Liverpool have just beaten Maribor by 7-0. Almost forgot the scoreline there because it was just that mad by the end of the game, let's be honest. I mean, just give yourself a moment to let that sink in again. 7-0. 7-0. It's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, personally, I would have liked to have seen us break the record for the biggest win in the Champions League, which, as we all know, was set by Liverpool back in the day with an 8-0 win over Galatasaray, I believe it was. But to be honest, all things considered, I'll settle for 7-0. I mean, if someone had offered you that before the game, you probably would have taken it as well. So, I mean, let's just get straight into it. Let's go goal by goal. Let's analyse all 7 because all of them were pretty good. Let's be honest. So the first one, Liverpool got things off to an absolutely fantastic start very early on in the game. I was really pleased with how Mohamed Salah set up this goal. He pressed incredibly well. He won the ball back, and then obviously his pace once again comes through. He shows it really well, and he lays it on a plate for Roberto Firmino, who has come in for a little bit of stick so far this season, especially in the last month or so with the problems that Liverpool have had with finishing their chances. Firmino's kind of been in the firing line because he is an unorthodox forward. He's not necessarily a traditional number 9 or a poacher or anything like that. But today, with that goal, he was in the right place at the right time. He just taps the ball in nicely, finishes off some great work from Mo Salah, and Liverpool got things off to a fantastic start, and they didn't really stop from there on in. The second goal, again, nice work from Mo Salah. He plays a good little pass to James Milner to let Milner break into the box. Milner then puts in a pretty decent cross under pressure. He's off balance as well. He puts in that cross to Felipe Coutinho. I think maybe there's a slice of luck there, to be honest. Coutinho, it kind of bobbles slightly. I don't know whether the ball maybe hits the turf off his foot and then bounces into the goal, but it's still a very good finish. Very good for him to keep his composure, and it's still obvious that that was where he was aiming for the ball to go. He was trying to place it into that far corner. So another really good goal, some good team play as well as a good finish, and by that point, you know, I was just hoping for an absolute rout, and we got it. So the third goal then, Mo Salah, another player who's come under criticism for not quite finishing as many chances as he should. People have said that, you know, as much as he is a poacher and he does get into fantastic positions and score a lot of goals, he is a little bit wasteful with a few chances as well. However, with that goal, you know, he just got into the right place at the right time and finished so calmly, so coolly, and we were absolutely flying there. And then things calmed down for a little bit. It felt like maybe we'd taken our foot off the gas slightly. It felt like maybe it was going to be like Hoffenheim, where we completely blew them away in the first 20 minutes with 3 goals. We were 3-0 up around about the same time as we were today. And then Hoffenheim sort of got their heads together a little bit, and Liverpool calmed down, and that game kind of died out from there on in. And it sort of slowed down a little bit. We had 20 minutes. I personally was getting a little bit bored. I was thinking, come on. I was expecting about 15-0 by the time Coutinho scored that second goal. So I kind of want another one here. And then Mo Salah pops up with another one. Yes, I personally think it's Mo Salah's goal. There's a little bit of debate over whether it's Firmino's or whether it's Salah's. Firmino definitely gets a touch, but I think Salah definitely gets the last one. And all round, Mo Salah had a very, very good performance today. I mean, personally, he was my man of the match. There were a few shouts for James Milner. I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying that, you know, he had a really good game. He really showed why he's such a good squad player for Liverpool. Personally, I didn't notice him that much, which I suppose suggests that maybe, you know, he did his job very well. He sort of went about his business very quietly, kept things ticking over, and allowed the front 3 to really take all the headlines and everything. But Salah, for me, even though he was only on the pitch for about 56 minutes, he just absolutely owned the game. I mean, he was everywhere. Like I said, he helped set up the other goal for Felipe Coutinho as well. He sets up the goal for Firmino, so he's involved in all 4 of those goals in the first half, and he just ran Maribor absolutely ragged, and it was really good to see, especially with Sadio Mane out. We really need Mo Salah to be fulfilling that kind of role in the team. And then the second half came, and Liverpool pretty much picked up things where they'd left off. We had a great free kick from Phil Coutinho that was saved incredibly well by Handanovic, to be fair. For a goalkeeper who's 39 years old, to be making that save from a Phil Coutinho free kick was pretty impressive. But then the build-up play led to another free kick. Phil Coutinho whipped it in, and Roberto Firmino with another striker's finish. Another very good header. He flicks it on in a situation which is a lot more difficult than it looks, despite how close he was to the goal. He made a great flick. It took all the Maribor players and their goalkeeper out of the game, and Liverpool got their 5th. And to be honest, it was about that point where I think we all realised that Maribor weren't very good. There was a strong suggestion that they were from the fact that we'd gone 4-0 up within the first half. But I mean, the fact that Liverpool scored a header from a set piece, which is something they don't do very often, let's be honest, suggested that maybe Maribor weren't that good an opponent. But, you know, as I said in the pre-match video, there are no easy games in the Champions League. And as much as this is probably as close as you're going to get to an easy game, because we did win 7-0 and Maribor didn't really threaten at any point during that game, we still had to make them look rubbish. We still put in a very good performance. And no matter who you're playing, you don't win 7-0 unless you play very well. And Liverpool did that today. So yeah, it was great to see Roberto Firmino get a brace. I was a little bit disappointed that he got subbed off because it would have been nice to see him get his first hat-trick in a Liverpool shirt. But still, a fab performance from him. And he helped set up a few goals as well. So all in all, an all-round fantastic performance from Liverpool's number 9. And then things cooled off a little bit after that 5th goal. It kind of felt like one of those friendlies, like the one that Liverpool played against Sydney at the end of last season, where they stormed away in the first half. They went 3-0 up. All was going great. They were playing brilliant football. And in the second half, they just made a lot of substitutions. Things slowed down. The game kind of lost its tempo. A similar thing happened today. You know, Jurgen Klopp brought on Sturridge. He brought on Solanke. He brought on Oxlade-Chamberlain. And it kind of felt like things had fizzled out a little bit. And to be honest, it did get a bit boring. Again, you know, I feel like a spoiled child at Christmas, to be honest, saying that things were boring when Liverpool were winning 5-0, but it did slow down a little bit. I think Liverpool kind of thought, you know what, we've had our fun here. And with Spurs at the weekend, it's kind of fair that we were resting players and making sure that no one got overtired or anything, because Spurs will be a much bigger test than Maribor were. But then you got to about the end of the game, Daniel Sturridge does some brilliant play to win the ball back, some very good pressing, and plays it through to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who made a pretty good finish there. I mean, it wasn't, you know, the most difficult chance in the world. It's somewhere where you'd expect him to score, really. But given how he's played so far for Liverpool and how he has kind of struggled to settle in, he hasn't looked too great on the ball. You know, a lot of his passes go astray and everything like that. You wouldn't have put it past Oxlade-Chamberlain in the form he's in at the moment to actually miss that chance. But he doesn't. He tucked it under the keeper incredibly well, and Liverpool was 6-0 up. And I mean, back onto Daniel Sturridge early, with some great pressing to win the ball back to set up that goal. It was nice to see some good pressing football from Liverpool today, because given that we were playing Maribor and we had a lot of the ball, they were quite far back, and we were pressing very high up the pitch with our possession. It was nice to see a few moments where we were still winning the ball back and showing what the kind of the Jurgen Klopp way is all about and enforcing that. And I think that's kind of what helped us to win the game by such a huge margin. And then finally, with the game pretty much done, Trent Alexander-Arnold pops up with yet another goal in the Champions League. And yeah, it takes a huge deflection off one of the Maribor players' arms. It wasn't necessarily Trent Alexander-Arnold's goal. Obviously, it's been given to him, but it might not have gone in without the deflection. But let's be honest, who cares? 7-0 away from home in the Champions League, and another goal for Trent Alexander-Arnold, which will do his confidence the world of good. You know, he had a fairly iffy game today, Trent Alexander-Arnold. You know, he wasn't really helped by the fact that we weren't really looking to play crosses into the box, because I think Maribor, the best way to exploit their weaknesses was just to play the ball around on the floor and try and, you know, set them spinning and play some nice little passes and everything like that. And that didn't really help Alexander-Arnold, because his strength is playing those kind of Steven Gerrard Hollywood passes across the pitch. So he didn't have a great game, but it was nice to see him cap it off with that goal. And Liverpool came away with their biggest ever away win in European competition. So like I said, bit disappointing not to break the record and get an 8-0 or a 9-0, but I will absolutely take a 7-0 after that. So yeah, all things considered, a pretty good game from Liverpool. Obviously, there will still be loads of boring minge bags who stand around and say, yeah, it's only Maribor, and, you know, we'll never do that against Spurs or anything like that, and say that we got lucky with deflections and whatnot. But Liverpool still played very well. We were still absolutely fantastic in that game. I mean, the amount of times we just played defence-splitting passes, taking so many Maribor players out the game, when we saw players just running onto these gorgeous through balls and everything. And maybe some of that was due to the fact that Maribor positioned themselves poorly or didn't pick up Liverpool's players properly. But at the end of the day, Liverpool still played fantastically, and that is why they came away with such an emphatic win. So hopefully this means that our Champions League campaign is back on track. I mean, the fact that Spartak Moscow won, I know a lot of people are kind of happy about that because it's taken points off Sevilla, but it means that things are very tight at the top of the group. You know, we've now got 5 points, Spartak have got 5 points, and Sevilla have got 4 points. So Liverpool need to be absolutely on their absolute best in their next few games in the Champions League. And obviously we've got Maribor at home next, so that's another game where hopefully we'll win it. I mean, if we don't, then serious questions have got to be asked about how Liverpool play, so hopefully another 3 points there. And then I think we just have to beat at least one of Sevilla or Spartak Moscow in our 2 games against them, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be home and hosed and into the knockout stages. But until then, next up, it's Spurs away at Wembley, and given how they played tonight, you know, Spurs had an absolutely fantastic result against Real Madrid. They got a draw at the Bernabeu, which is incredibly impressive, and hopefully their performance levels will drop off slightly between now and the weekend. But we can only hope, and hopefully with the brilliant performance that Liverpool put in tonight, we'll carry that on into the game against Spurs. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure you enjoyed the match at least. If you did enjoy this video, why not give it a like? If you're new around here as well, hit that subscribe button. Check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days as well. And I'll see you very soon for the pre-match video for the game against Spurs. And don't forget to follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter as well. Bye for now.